Greetings, Groaners. Here we are again. You join us this week for episode 82. Is this humidity not gonna do one? Here in the northeast of England, even the rain doesn't help this week. Oh, bloody hell, I'm groaning already. Let's give you the episode lowdown and kick it into orbit from there. Your games this week are the 5-point countdown, Double Down Dummies, and Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. This week's show is in non-specific order, so with that being said, onwards to groaning, etc, etc. Games are mentioned, so it's only fair we shunt off with a 5-point countdown. Clue number 5 for 5 points. If the Groaners are ready to play along live, get your answers ready. If you play along at home, pause after you hear the first clue, have a think, answer, unpause. Clue 5 for 5 points. You can preserve me in a jar, in vinegar or other liquids. That clue one more time. For 5 points. You're going for 5 points, Groaners. You can preserve me in a jar, in vinegar or other liquids. Give me those answers, Groaners. What do you have? They're typing. Gherkin. Good guess. Any more, Groaners? Those long live at least. If you're playing at home, I can't hear you, so... Eggs. Okay. Right. Clue number 4 for 4 points, Groaners. I am indeed edible. I know that doesn't have the Groaners that have just put on gherkins and eggs, but clue number 4 for 4 points. I am indeed edible. I was really thinking hard this week of how I can bamboozle anybody and everybody, and I think I might have done it. Groaners long live, have you got any more answers? Type them up. Play along at home. Here's where you pause, have a think, answer, unpause. The clock's ticking, Groaners. You got 5 seconds. That's your 5 seconds up. Moving on. Clue number 3 for 3 points. How I taste depends on what I'm soaked in. Immature mind. Clue number 3 for 3 points. How I taste depends what I'm soaked in. Go, Groaners long live. Give me your answers, please. Those at home, pause, have a think, answer, unpause. The clock's ticking, Groaners. Have we got anything? Oh, I've really stumped those long live this week. Ho 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 ho. And time's up. Moving on. Clue number 2 for 2 points. I can be small or pretty large, almost huge to gobstopper size. Not styes. Clue number 2 for 2 points again. I can be small or pretty large, almost huge like a big gobstopper size. Come on, Groaners, give me those answers, please. Those at home, have a think, answer, unpause. Ooh, people are typing again. Onion. We have an answer of onion coming in. Any more, Groaners? What do you have? Any more? Oh, time's running low. And that's it. Final clue, clue number 1 for 1 point. You can make your own or buy me in a store. One more time for 1 point. Number 1, you can make your own or buy me in a store. Remember, Groaners, when I give the answer at the end of the show, try to remember where you scored your points. Where you got the answer is where you get points. Not before, not after. And if you change your mind from a wrong to a right answer, great. If you change from right to a wrong, you've got no points. Sorry, until you change back to a right. Any more? Oh, that's it, Groaners. Time's up for the 5-point countdown. The answer will be revealed later on in the show. Now, have you ever wondered, what is the point of something, Groaners? I have, but I have to ask the question, why oh why? We turn again to that font of all truth and knowledge known as TikTok. Why? Well, it seems experts on the platform advise that a new fad can help improve your mental health. This new fad is called bed rotting. What is it? You stay in bed all day and pretty much do nothing aside from getting up and going to the toilet, then going back to bed. If this means you don't need two, it's beyond stupid, but it's dumb anyway, as your mind needs to be active so it can be a healthy mind. Experts have said that this fad worsens mental health, so there is that too. Staying in bed all day. Bed rotting. I've just got to ask, why oh why? Now we've had our why oh whys, but now we need the weekly groans from your favourite groany host, that being me. Humidity. So we've had hot weather here in the northeast of England recently, and with that comes humidity. Unfortunately, this brings on the feeling where you compare the conditions to being a bead of sweat in a giant's pocket. Uncomfortable and unpleasant. Who in the sweet smeg would enjoy that? Modifying food orders. Every now and again, my greedy self loves to pig out on fast food. However, some burgers etc. cannot be modified. This is pants. If I don't like an ingredient, or someone is intolerant to something like a said ingredient, then modifications should be allowed. Isn't the customer always right, so to speak? Energy drinks. Okay. Most of us have drank them, and others are beyond hooked on them. Some are just pure sugar, and others have a metric ton of garbage in them. Also, the burst of wokeness, and I'm not talking politically woke, you feel after downing one tends to burn off after 10 to 30 minutes. If you are hooked, think of your kidneys, which have to deal with a sugar overload and get it out of you. They aren't good for your health. Don't drink more than one a day if you honestly have to have one. That's the bag of groans, pushed back to the darkness from which they came, and we now curve into another story of creepiness from Admin Nicole with her Creepy Corner. Your story this week is called The Aftermath. The old man woke up once more to a foul smell and Viola staring at him. She commented on his talking in his sleep, but also his new younger appearance. He didn't really think it was possible, but was Valencia really the cause of all this? Viola started calling him Sean, the first time anyone had ever heard his real name, but Sean was who he used to be. He preferred to be just called the old man, like usual. That was who he was now after all. He didn't remember much of what happened with the mayor though, and asked Viola to fill him in. Well, there was a pillar of darkness, and that wiped out the rest of the town. It's just a big crater now. Val was in the centre of that. She has much bigger wings now, and her arms and legs up to her knees and elbows are all black, almost as she climbed out of an ink machine. Also, the mayor's now dealt with, but he's not dead, and there were swarms of crows and ravens. Oh, and turns out Coco can only heal people through cake, and all she had left was half a cookie, which could only fix my insides and not the big hole from being impaled. So I had to get stitched up by rats, and I'm still unsure how I feel on that, Viola explained. The sewer lord walked over and helped the old man stand. He didn't take well to his comments on the sewers. He had spent quite some time now fixing it up and improving the smell and the hygiene everywhere. He got his parents out in time too, while the old man was away with Valencia. He sent his rats to guide them to the safest place possible for them. Sugar Life, a town long thought to be a rumour spread many years ago. While his rats were out exploring one day, they came across a new type of rat. A white rat with red stripes and a strong smell of peppermint. The stories were true. Many years ago, a town obsessed with fitness was allegedly taken over by a sentient cake created from a boy's wish and a storm. Joe, his name was, 10 years old at the time, trapped to live a life in the sewers until he could find a way to fix his mistake. No one knows what really happened to Pikeville, but legends say a pocket universe had formed around it, trapping everyone inside. I thought the town was a myth. That would mean Joe was trapped in our sewers all that time. Who knows where he is now? Why would you send your parents there of all places? Won't they get turned into cake too? The old man asked. The only way in or out was through the sewer entrance. Even the town of Cake needs a baker and a dentist. The rats told me. I explained everything to my parents and they agreed. Someday I'll see them again. We may always get separated, but that doesn't mean we're not together, the sewer lord replied. Viola picked up a small sleeping raven with silver feathers on the inside of her wings and brought her to the old man. This was Valencia. When she fell asleep, and began crashing to the ground, she turned into this. There's no telling when or if she'll wake up again, but she was alive, and for now that was enough. The old man took her in his arms and thanked her for getting to really see his family again. Whatever she was now wouldn't change anything. However, there was one more issue. Talia escaped the bus the orphanage used to escape. Trying to avoid her aunt once again, she decided this was her big chance to get away and that she would rather take her chances with a dying town, so she sneaked off the bus and ran to hide. When Valencia merged herself with the darkness, it sent a blast ripping through town. There was no way of knowing what they might have done, but it no doubt affected everyone that the old man had granted a wish for. That was a problem for another day though. Coco still had her wing burned, but thanks to the rat doctors, the burn could start to heal. Who says rats can't be doctors too? Prince Dread just sat in a corner, still contemplating the truth about his owl form and doing what he could to avoid turning into it again. As for Ivy, she sat happily surrounded by the sewer snakes with a tiny snow globe in her hands. Inside it looked like a barren red wasteland with the words Happy Valley printed on the front of the base. And when the old man asked Viola where that came from, Viola remembered she forgot to explain that. Valencia was about to kill the mayor, trying to free everyone from his wrath, but then she saw Ivy and knew it would be wrong. Every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. So Valencia created a snow globe and trapped the mayor in it. The snow globe then fell to the ground right into Ivy's arms, a way to have her father with her, but so he could never do any harm to anyone ever again. We don't actually know if he's alive or not in there, or what might happen if that snow globe ever breaks. We also don't know if he's aware of where he is, or what happened, so we all agreed not to tell Ivy. She's been through enough, Viola whispered to the old man. As Viola asked the old man what the plan was next, she got interrupted by the sewer lord, as he noticed the branding on Ivy's arm. He then asked the old man if he knew what it was, as it was something he too had seen before. Nicole, you always leave us hanging, don't you? Doesn't she, Groaners? But it always gets me wanting more, so there'll be more from Creepy Corner next week. I know the zero of the week usually finds us rounding off the episode, but who says things are set in stone? I give you this week's zero of the week right now. Recently we sounded off about the mock Willy Wonka experience, but some bungling restaurant clearly didn't get the memo over there in the USA. In their wisdom, is sarcasm the lowest form of wit here? They thought it would be a blast to have a knockoff Bluey. If you don't know what Bluey is a kid's cartoon character, in particular a dog. It looked like a cheap costume and the restaurant couldn't cope with the demands of attendees. What is going on with shattering the hopes of kids and their parents lately? Stop this stupid practice of trying to pull off an experience that you know you cannot live up to for people. You just end up at like a zero, much like this restaurant who we've just mentioned. Moving along here, we go on with Double Down Dummies. Everyone's ready for the second game? Round 1. What a boob. A retired engineer from unknown origin was obsessed with home invasions and wanted to protect his property and his family. A noble statement, but this was totally mismanaged. How did placing booby traps all over his home lead to his death, need I ask? Was it option A? He tripped on his own tripwire and was impaled on a covered spike in the floor through his abdomen. B. A gun trap went off, blowing a pathway into his neck, leading to a fatality. Or option C. He leaned against one of his propped up traps and was crushed under a load of dumbbells. All these outcomes sound like a thing from Adult Home Alone. Anyway, Groaners, give me your answers please. Those at home, press pause, answer unpause. We've got bees flying in, more bees flying in. Okay, any more? Any more flying in? An A and a C. Okay, not an even spread, but still a spread. Okay, any more? Nope. Okay, moving on. Round 2, Man versus Wasps. Another one from unknown origins, but equally dumb. A man came up with a foolproof plan to defeat a wasp nest that had been bugging him inside one of the rooms of his house. But how did this plan lead to his death? Was it A, Plan A, he sucked up the wasps into a vacuum cleaner and then sprayed a shed-load of Raid bug spray into it? He was gassed out to death by poisoned air and dust when the vacuum exploded. B, Plan B, he made a homemade flamethrower and went to war spraying fire everywhere. He cut off his only escape and died in the house fire that followed. Or was it option C, Plan C, he took a baseball bat to the nest and the angry wasps gave chase. In his panic, he hurried down the basement steps but fell, snapping his neck on the concrete below. Go Groaners, give me your answers. At home, press pause, answer unpause. Everyone's going for B again. Okay, very B heavy this episode for guesses in this kind of games. Alright, any more? More B's? And more B's, even though we're talking about wasps. Sorry, bad pun, I'll stop. The answers will come later, Groaners. You just may have scored points. Now moving on, we push it forward to oh, unlucky. I'll start that again. We now bring this week's oh, unlucky. We've mentioned this toolbox before when he wrapped his mum's house in wrapping paper, but he's done it again with flippin' tin foil. The mum is unlucky for having this done to her and unlucky for giving birth to this idiot. Can I also say his status of Zero of the Week hasn't changed since last time we mentioned him because he's still wasting a metric ton of product. Stop wasting paper and aluminium tin foil, please. Now, as you know, Groaners, I've groaned this week, so it's only fair one of you gets your turn. And yes, it's the final groan of DD this week with his Groan trilogy. And once again, he has hit solid gold. He groans, Netflix old new series. This isn't so much as a whinge at Netflix itself, but specifically what it does when adding certain series to its platform. You see, Netflix will sometimes add a new/old series from years gone by. This is quite often a classic series or a cult fan favourite. Brilliant! I'm all for getting into a class series I've not watched in 20 years, or better yet, a cult classic that I've not even seen despite it being old. I get especially excited if it's something I've been meaning to watch for ages but I've not had the opportunity. For example, a classic anime that's not been on any streaming service other than Crunchyroll. Now, I don't know about other people, but when I start watching a new series, I like to watch it from the start. I think that's pretty normal. You start a season at episode 1 on season 1 and you go from there, yes? Yet for some reason, probably something to do with rights, Netflix will add a fantastic series, you click on it to start watching, only to find out it starts at episode number 1278 and has only 3 of the 50 seasons. Like, what the hell, man? Who in their right mind thinks, I know... Oh, someone's just commented, threw me off kilter there. Hang on a sec, Groaners. Something about, you think he's mentioned One Piece. Yep, I know that anime. And I'm having a discussion as I try and read out this groan. I've lost my train of thought. Who in their right mind thinks, I know what I fancy, I'd love to start watching such and such, but not from the start like a normal person? No, let's make it interesting. I want to start watching from season 33, episode 1278, but I have no idea what is going on or what happened in the previous 32 seasons to develop the characters, and I want to be cut short on a cliffhanger so that I have to guess what the subsequent series are going to be about. Absolute madness. Yeah, I know, I'll go to the cinema, pay 10 quid for a ticket, sit there looking at a blank screen for an hour, then watch 15 minutes in the middle, then make sure I'll leave before the end. That makes perfect sense. Seems like a great idea. Like, what the actual F, Netflix? Either purchase the whole damn series so it can be watched start to finish and enjoyed, or don't buy it at all. Sorry, Groaners, about the interruption in the middle of there. I tried so hard not to laugh, as well as having a discussion with a couple of other Groaners there. By reading this groan, I couldn't help myself. Cheers, Dee Dee. Your groans were awesome, and I agree with them all, and I really hope you groan in again. If you'd like to take part in the show by contributing feedback, sending us your groan, throwing off a Hero or Zero of the Week nomination, giving us a Y or Y or an Oh unlucky, you can do so on the following. You can comment on any episode and it will be picked up. Fire off an email to thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. Find us on Discord under the Groan Zone. You can either hit up myself, Mr. E. Groaner, or Nicole Amos on Facebook Messenger. You can even join us on Facebook groups under the Groan Zone podcast. We look forward to hearing from you, Groaners. And this brings us neatly onto Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. This week's brain buster is high chins. The clue? An infamous ruler in the early 19th century. Apparently, I've asked for this almost every week or something, but I'll be blowed if I know the answer. And the answer will come next week. Before we wrap the show up and send it, we must reveal the answers. First things first, who the hell am I from last week? Had a few guesses, but none were correct. Someone even wrote in with Deputy Dog. The problem there is, he's a dog and is white and furry, not like Atamant, who was the answer we were looking for. Well done though, if you did guess right. The 5-point countdown. The answer, I'd accept onions or pickled onions. Double down dummies. Round 1, what a boob. Your correct outcome was B. A gun trap went off, blowing a pathway into his neck, leading to a fatality. Round 2, man versus wasps. Your correct outcome was option A, plan A. He sucked up the wasps into a vacuum cleaner and then sprayed a shed load of Raid bug spray into it. He was gassed out to death by poisoned air and dust when the vacuum cleaner exploded. If you scored any points this week, well done to you, Groaners, and there'll be more chances for points next week when we return with another swirly spiraling trip into the Groan Zone. See you then, Groaners. Bye bye.